Mayday, 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 Pakistan 8303, Pakistan 8303, we're both now available to land. When the pilot uttered these words, the passenger aircraft was only 600 feet above Karachi. It was a hot afternoon in Pakistan's largest city, Karachi, and everyone was indoors due to the intense heat. It was 2:35 p.m., and no one could have anticipated that an emergency situation was about to unfold in Karachi. The pilot of Pakistan International Airlines Flight PK-8303 had issued a Mayday distress signal, indicating that he was helpless and that the aircraft was no longer under his control. Just seconds after the signal, Karachi was shaken by a loud explosion, and the sky was covered in a shroud of black smoke. The Airbus A320 crashed into a densely populated area known as Model Colony, only 430 meters from the airport. The investigation report later revealed that there was no fault with the plane, raising the question, how did this tragedy occur? What was the communication between the pilot and the traffic controller? Why did the first attempt to land at the airport fail, and what secrets were uncovered during the 3-year investigation? Welcome once again to our video. On May 22, 2020, Flight 8303 was scheduled to take off from Lahore at 1 p.m., heading to Karachi International Airport. This was a short flight expected to land at its destination in approximately 1 hour and 45 minutes. Due to the ongoing COVID-19 lockdown, there were very few flights operating, but it was also the month of Ramadan, and Eid holidays were approaching. Despite the limited flights, the demand for travel was high, and the flight was fully booked with 91 passengers and 8 crew members. The weather was perfect in both Lahore and Karachi. The flight captain, 58-year-old Sajjad Gul, had been with Pakistan International Airlines for 24 years and had accumulated 18,000 hours of flight experience. The first officer, 33-year-old Usman Azam, had been with PIA for 10 years. The aircraft was a 16-year-old Airbus A320 equipped with 2 CFM56 turbofan engines, which played a crucial role in this story. The aircraft was in perfect condition and maintained according to Airbus's recommendations. After completing all preparations at Lahore Airport, the plane took off at 1:05 p.m., with only a 5-minute delay. Shortly after takeoff, Flight 8303 reached its cruising altitude of 34,000 feet, where it would remain for the next 45 minutes. Once at cruising altitude, the cabin crew offered snacks to the pilots, but they declined as they were fasting. During the cruise, the pilots put the plane on autopilot and began chatting. At 1:20 p.m., the plane crossed Nawabshah, and at this point, it was connected to Karachi Control Tower. The previous control tower's job was done, and the responsibility now lay with Karachi Tower. Karachi Control welcomed the pilots and directed them to reach Makli directly. Normally, planes on this route confirm with Karachi Tower at Nawabshah which route to take, as there are multiple paths from Nawabshah to Karachi, including Nawabshah 2A, Nawabshah 2B, and Nawabshah 1C. Route 2A passes near Hyderabad, then turns right near Kinjur Lake and heads straight to Karachi Airport. Route 2B goes directly from Nawabshah to Karachi, turning left at Makli, 28 kilometers before the airport, and then right towards the airport. Route 1C goes directly from Nawabshah to Makli. These routes are pre-recorded in the flight computer. The assigned route from Nawabshah was initially Nawabshah 2, the longer path, but the pilot insisted on a direct route to Makli due to low air traffic, and the controller granted permission. However, the pilot did not save this shortcut in the flight management computer, which still believed the plane was on the Nawabshah 2A route, while they were actually on the 1C path. At Nawabshah, the plane's altitude was 34,000 feet. It should have been at 7,000 feet at Makli, 28 kilometers from Karachi Airport. The plane could not descend immediately from 34,000 to 7,000 feet, so it had to gradually descend between Nawabshah and Makli. A longer route allows for a slower descent, while a shorter route requires a faster descent. Because the computer was set to the 2A route, it was descending at 1,000 feet per minute, while the plane on the 1C route needed a faster descent. As a result, the plane was at 10,000 feet at Makli instead of 7,000 feet. When Karachi Control noticed the altitude discrepancy, They asked the pilot if they could land or needed to circle to lose altitude. The captain insisted they could land and declined to circle. The pilots did not realize the computer had the wrong route selected. The information was in front of them, but they did not pay attention. As the plane approached Machli, the nose was lowered to descend faster, increasing the speed to 2,400 feet per minute and causing the aircraft to speed up. At this point, 21 kilometers from the runway, the plane was at 6,000 feet, while it should have been at 3,000 feet. The controller tried to contact the captain multiple times, but the pilot had accidentally changed the radio frequency. Emergency frequency communication re-established contact, and the controller advised the captain that their altitude was too high and suggested circling again. The captain declined, saying they were established on the runway. The first officer expressed doubt, suggesting they should circle to control speed and altitude, but the captain was adamant. As they neared the runway, multiple alarms sounded, including one indicating the landing gear was not deployed. The confusion led to a gear-up landing, with the plane touching the runway 4 times in 16 seconds, causing severe jolts in the cabin and damaging the engines, which started leaking oil. Realizing the mistake, the captain decided to take off again. Experts believe they should have left the plane on the runway, where emergency services could have contained any fire. However, the captain chose to lift off, finding that one engine had failed due to the damage and the plane was now operating on a single, compromised engine. Climbing to 3,000 feet, the captain prepared for another attempt to land. The controller informed them that all runways were clear. But vibrations started in the remaining engine, and soon it failed too. Now without engines, the plane rapidly descended. This time, the captain deployed the landing gear well in advance, creating drag and slowing the plane when speed was most needed. At 600 feet, aligned with the runway, the captain realized they would not make it and issued the Mayday call. Mayday, 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 Pakistan 8303. Moments later, the plane crashed into houses and model colony, 1,340 meters short of the runway. The explosion was heard miles away, and black smoke filled the sky. Miraculously, 2 passengers survived out of 99 on board, while 1 person on the ground was killed. Emergency services arrived quickly but struggled with the narrow streets. The investigation placed primary responsibility on the captain for repeatedly violating rules and ignoring traffic controller instructions. The air traffic controllers also failed to warn about the landing gear. Fasting during Ramadan was a contributing factor, leading to a ban on fasting while flying. Additionally, it was revealed that 40% of PIA pilots held fake licenses. Thank you for your kind comments. See you in the next exciting video.